All right, guys, welcome back to Crossman. Guys, this has been such a great week. I'm excited. I'm excited about today, man. Today we have an awesome lineup for you. So today I have two interviews. The first one is with my new friend Robert Daprocida. Daprocida. Probably butchering it. He's going to tell me when I get on. So, but yeah, I have Robert on, and I'm excited to get to know Robert. So I've seen Robert's post, on Facebook. He's one of the guys that I have as a friend, and I've seen, a lot of the things that he's been posting. So I'm like, just I want to bring Robert in and kind of get to know Robert. You know, that's how we've met a lot of our guests, and uh, you find out that they're just completely amazing people. And then later today, I have Big Ant, Big Ant, and DJ Fireman, Travis Sells. Those are going to be later today. You don't want to miss that one. That is a whole story that you'll learn a lot about my past when I bring those in as well. So just remember, you guys, hit that subscribe, like, comment, share, hit the notification bell so that you guys can keep up to date with all the news, interviews, and events that we have coming up. And then also check out the merch store. CrossmanProductions.com is up. So we have some new merchandise up that we had added this week. So go check that out. But I want to bring in Robert. Robert. So
How you doing, Parks?
I want to make sure it was the Procida.
It's close. It's been pronounced that like many times. It's actually Daprocida.
The Procida. Okay.
Daprocida.
The Procida. Okay.
Yeah, no worries.
I knew I was. Okay, that's not right. But, but welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, excited
So,
to be here.
like I was saying, we've been friends for a little bit on Facebook, and I've seen some of the posts that you've been putting up. Some of the who have been in, and I was like, I got to bring this guy in. I got to bring this guy in. I got to get to meet him, get to hear his story, and then the type of movies that you do are the type of movies that I like watching.
All
so,
right.
so I'm like, definitely got to get this guy. So, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience and kind of tell our audience, what was life like, growing up? Where you were born and raised in, and what was like growing up?
Right on. Okay, my name is Robert Daprocida. I actually grew up in a small town in Canada. I'm Canadian, but my parents are Italian immigrants. They came from Italy back in the 50s. So I was the first generation born here and kind of raised the old-fashioned way. The town I was in was actually quite small. It was about 25 to 30,000 people.
Oh, wow.
It's in the Rocky Mountains of British Columbia, right in the Kootenays. And what kind of started my journey in life was the town was actually quite good for me because I started at a very, very young age, mostly with music. Music's kind of what brought me into this journey. So when I was about 3.5, my mom had this little toy piano that I had, and she came in one day and she could hear me playing songs. So I was learning stuff by ear, and so right away it was ding, ding, ding. Let's
Right.
piano lessons, right? So that following spring, when I was 4, she sent me off to a piano teacher, and I got enrolled in the Royal Conservatory of Music, which is a European company. That's kind of classical music and training and stuff. And so I got going right away on that. And within a couple of years, I was singing as well. I started doing a lot of competing piano and singing and that kind of thing. And I did that right through my youth. And I finished it quite young because I started young, I kind of whipped through the courses, and a lot of people I played against were adults. So I had, and 5, 10 years older that I was competing against, and finished that when I was about 13. I completed the Royal Conservatory. So for me, it was kind of great as a part-time job. I was teaching piano after school at a young age. So I had a great part-time job when I was in school, and the music is what solely led me into getting into musicals, and then solely into theater. And then in my high school years, I was really enjoying like the acting, the stage work, the musical theater, and I love movies, I love film, and I grew up in this little town where it's like, well, there's no film here or whatever. So I made the decision as soon as I graduate, I'm off to Vancouver, right? So I graduated in 1993, literally finished my last exam, had everything packed, got on the road and headed straight out to Vancouver to get going. And I kind of got there, didn't know anybody, didn't know anything, where to go, who to, so I kind of just got an apartment there and, found a part-time job somewhere and started, plugging away and, reading on the newspapers, whatever was going on. So I ended up finally, after a little bit of time, getting involved in a couple shows, theater shows, and one led to another, and led to another. You start meeting some people, start talking to them. One show that I ran with for a good year and a half in Vancouver, called Tony and Tina's Wedding. So I did that show and met some great people there. And a couple of the people that were in the show were also into film. And I said, well, that's what I'm here to do. That's what I want to do. So through talking to them, kind of figuring out, you need to get your agent. Here's a small town boy trying to figure all this stuff out. And I'm going, okay. So get this agent, get this thing. And I had not a lot of, I had no film experience, theater experience, but it was mostly like, just only the last couple I was doing, like Tony and Tina's, was kind of like paid gigs and that kind of stuff. So I didn't have this great resume, and I was like, well, okay, what do I do? So I was kind of guided from some people, kind of how to make up a bit of a resume with what I had, get some headshots. So what I started doing is just hitting the pavement at that point. And I really focused on one agent in particular. I just really wanted to get on with him. So I was literally every week I was mailing him a resume and a headshot. I did this for, I don't know, it was probably 2.5 months. And I finally get a call from him, and he first sentence out of his mouth wasn't even hello. It's like, well, you're definitely persistent. I'll give you that. So he said, come on in and see me for an audition, right? So I went in, he said, prepare a monologue. I did that, and we did the monologue, and one of the things he looked at me and said, this is where they tell you, you need thick skin. He literally looked at me and said, well, you're not a good looking guy. And I was like, yeah, okay. I was about 19 years old, and somebody's just telling me you're not a good looking guy. I was like, fine, no problem. I just want to act. So that's the biggest thing for me, right? Said, I'm interested and I'll take you on. So he took me on, and luckily enough, sent me on my first audition, and I booked the first audition I went on. So he called me back. He was ecstatic, and that's kind of what, started me down the path of film. And that's the direction I really wanted to go. I mean, I still love music. I still play piano. I still sing. I still do some events here and there. We had my kids in music and all that kind of stuff. And but that's what kind of started me in film. So throughout the 90s, I was doing a lot of film out there in Vancouver. And my change in path kind of happened in 1998. There was a big union strike going on. So there was a big halt in production. So there wasn't a lot going on at the time. So I had a lot of friends and family in Calgary, Alberta. And I said, well, I'm going to go take the summer off. I guess there's nothing really going on. I'm going to go down to Calgary, hang out and have some fun. I'll come back after the summer. And I went down there and, or down here, because this is where I still am. And there's a show going on here in town. So I said, well, I might as well do something while I'm here. So I got involved in that show, and I met my wife, and we kind of fell in love. And it was like, well, so my wife is Italian too, like me, first generation born here. So we have big families here in Calgary, old fashioned ways and that kind of stuff. So I kind of took the approach. I said, well, I do love this woman. I want to marry her. I don't want to come and just take her away, because that's, so I just said, well, you know what, I'm going to hang out here. I'll try going back and forth for a little while, see if I can do both. At that time, it was the 90s. There wasn't, you'd have to fly for every audition. It wasn't feasible. So I kind of just said, you know what, this is kind of where I want to focus right now. Kind of want to have a family. I really love this woman. So we got married, had our 3 kids. I kind of put my acting on hold for a little while. Our journey actually took us further north. We moved up north for about 10 years where there was nothing really going on. So we did that for a little while. And then about 2011, I kind of we decided to come back to Calgary. And I think a couple of years later, I called my agent back up, the one that I had at the time here in Calgary. And I said, I'm back. So, maybe something comes up, go for art. So I did do a couple things mid 2010s, but I also was going back and forth up north, still working, because basically the reason I went up there is, like I said, we got married, decided to change my path a little bit. I went to SAID. I got a diploma in computer technology. I was offered a job up north. That's what kind of brought me up north. Once I started there, it was great pay and everything, but I realized, this is not for me. I'm not an office guy. I'm not sitting at the computer type of guy. It's just, I can't do this forever, right? So did about a year and a half, and an opportunity came up to kind of start a building company up there. So I was like, okay, well, this is kind of interesting. So we started doing that. Never, wasn't in the construction industry before, but I'm big on learning, right? I'm a big learner. So it's just like, let's do it. Let's do it. Why not? So went at it, started working with all the different guys that worked with me, and started learning a bunch of different trades. Decided, I'm tired of working with architects. So I went out and bought some architectural software. I learned how to do my own architectural work. And so that experience, I really grew a lot as, in business. And so I learned lots about business. I learned all kinds of how to do all kinds of different trade kind of things, like, carpentry, masonry, finishing carpentry, painting. So I actually really grew as a person that way. Right. And then I also learned how to do architecture. And then I just really started getting good business knowledge and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of how I decided to support my family through, the past 20 years. And then I made the decision to come back, like I said, and I was going back and forth, still running my business up there, starting to just kind of do the odd thing with my agent here in town, whatever, kind of came up. But after COVID hit, 2021, my son, so I have 3 children, a son and 2 daughters. My son was making the decision. He was really big into the theater, and he was loving film and that kind of thing. And he made the decision, he's going to go and he wants to become a film director. So he actually had a friend who he was doing a film with, and his friend needed somebody to come and act in his production. So I said, he asked me if I'd do it, and I said, sure, why not? Help you out. And it was just like, once I did it, it was just like, it hit me like a ton of bricks again. It's just like, oh my God, like it just kind of just, it was like a fire was just like lit under my feet again. And it was just like, oh my God, I missed it so much. I just, I've been away from it kind of for so long. It's just like, I don't know why I ever kind of stopped. Right. So I started really thinking about it and looking into it. I'm like, you know what? Now we have all these self-tape things going on. There's all these breakdowns that are available that just were never there, right? Which if they would have been there over the whole 20 years, it would have been a different, different path. But so once I saw that stuff going on, I was like, you know what? It was just every day it was just building more and more. So I started updating all my stuff again, getting all my actor profiles together, and I just started going hard, self-submitting. Got with the agent to say, let's get rolling over here. Focused on getting an agent back in Vancouver again. And it's just been pushing that way, but doing a lot of self-submitting and all over the place, everywhere in the U.S. And that's kind of where my next big focus is, get a part down in the U.S. so I can get my visa, and I can come down there and I can actually start working both places, internationally, right? Because it's a great, huge industry down there as well, right? So, yeah.
So, you brought up 2 points. So, you were doing, when you were younger, you were into music first. So you were playing the piano. Yeah. Do you remember what kind of drew you towards getting into acting?
It was musical theater which started it. There was some, at school, there was some where we started doing some little productions in musical theater, right? And the first one I did was actually after the piano festival, because every year there'd be a piano festival, big competition. The adjudicator that was there was doing a summer school way up in, there was a school in Kamloops. It was a music school. So the music school, I went there, but they had this musical theater portion. So they would do, it was only a 3-week thing. So they would just kind of pick one number from a musical. We do it. And I just love the energy of it because, we're just, it's just, playing, when you're playing piano or you're singing, you kind of doing your thing, which is
Right.
quiet, just you and great, it's your thing at the end. But when you're doing theater, you can actually feel the reactions from every little,
Right. Yeah.
you know, thing. So it was, yeah, I just love the energy of it. And that's kind of what said, oh, I want to do a little bit more of this. So
Right.
as I got into junior high, there were, I make sure to get involved in the plays. High school, same thing. High school, I started getting involved in the community theater outside of school. So my high school years were busy, busy, busy because I was, at school, I was teaching piano, I was going to, rehearsals every night and, that kind of thing. So, but that's what got it going, right? And
Right.
so by the end of high school, I already knew I'm going, going to go to Vancouver. I want to
Yeah.
act. Film, I always loved movies. I was that kid that just wanted to watch every movie, just loved it. So
Right.
everything about it fascinated me. So when I got there and actually started getting on sets and seeing the energy and the way they create things and that kind of stuff, all that was fascinating to me too, right? So it's like, I love doing the acting. I like seeing how they do it. It was just all great.
Cool. So then, you end up having to step away a little bit. You got married, you took on a different career,
Mm-hmm.
became you built homes, right? And you built homes and are an architect,
That's
which
right.
that in itself is amazing. Um, I always admire like people like the architects that could go in there and like design, houses and buildings and just seeing what that entails and how detail oriented that you actually have to be, and then the opportunity arises again where you get to go back into acting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was the other thing I was going to ask you in Calgary. What is the film industry like out there? Trying to get into the industry. I know that, like here in America, we have a lot of small pockets of communities that are like really into film and they all work together. Is there things like that in Canada as well?
Yeah, so there is a lot of filming throughout Canada as well. A lot of them are the U.S. productions coming up, and they do a lot of filming up here. I mean, our biggest hubs are Vancouver and Ontario. Calgary is starting now to put some more focus on. So it is building, and we've had some, a few good series out here. They're out here. We still have like Heartland going on out here, which is a big series. The Last of Us was filming here last year. I think this year they moved over to Vancouver. But it is building every year, and the government has finally been the last few years. They're on board. They're like, oh yeah, this is a great industry because Alberta, we're a lot like Texas. We're up here. It's a lot of oil and a lot of beef, and that was kind of our industry. Now they're trying to diversify. They're putting a lot of push on IT. So they're trying to diversify the businesses as well as the film industry. They're realizing, oh hey, there's opportunities here. So now they're offering those tax credits and those tax breaks to production companies, trying to attract more of them here, right? So it is growing all the time. It's we're not anywhere near what Vancouver, Ontario is, and definitely not what LA is or anything like that. But it's growing. So every year it gets a little bit better. I'm part of the actors union up here, which is the affiliate to SAG up here. So I do find here in Calgary, it's a little limiting because there's a lot more non-union stuff going on than union stuff. There is union projects, but there's a lot of non-union projects, which I'm not able to go and participate in, which I would really like to because I see lots every day. So I'm purposely not doing, I'm still do every day, do lots of submissions down in the States. And the nice thing there, I haven't joined SAG there, so I can audition for whatever I want. And I kind of actually use that also as my training platform too. So I'm always doing at least, 3 to 4 auditions every week, just always, and it's allowed me to explore too, because I've put myself out there for, parts that I'll be like, oh, okay, because I used to go out for always lots of bad guys, that kind of stuff. When my agents send me out, but now this gives me the freedom. So I was actually I've been called in for auditions for like a priest or a loving father, all these kind of things, which I never got the opportunity to do. So I've been doing them, and I've been getting some callbacks, which is great from people down in the States. So they're liking what I'm doing. I am running into that hiccup of not having a visa yet, so I'm trying to find that one guy that says, okay, we'll work with and get the visa. You
Right.
know, that's kind of my biggest wall right now is kind of
Right.
getting their visa. Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned the pandemic, and that's one of the things I think that was um, beneficial, I guess, from the pandemic is that it opened up a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
You were talking about like when you first started, um, you had to physically go to these auditions. You had to go, get on a plane or travel out to these auditions. A lot of the auditions now you can just do online. There's so much technology I think that's developed from it. Even the show, 2 years ago, we couldn't even do the show.
Yeah, you would have to fly me down to Texas. Come on
Right.
down, come in my studio. Exactly. Now we can just
So, yeah, and I'm like,
at a time.
I'm able to reach people, around the world. I got, friends in Holland. I got friends in the UK, Australia. That would have been impossible 10 years ago.
That's right.
Without getting having somebody come down or going to them. So yeah, the technology, um, you know, aspect of it, I think, has made things easier. And I think that for the film industry, um, I've seen such an influx of independent filmmakers come out, which I think is incredible too, because um, I love independent films
Yeah.
because I feel like the independent films have more creativity than some of the big production companies. The big production companies, they find a film formula that works, and they just keep churning out the same
Well,
thing.
in independent, they're making the movie from the heart because there's not a big paycheck, there's not a
Right,
big anything. Nobody's out there pushing saying, "No, you got to do that because that's more marketable. That's smart." So they're making the movie out of from the heart. So you're making
right,
these great stories, these great things, right? And the bigger production stuff. I mean, there you got big production companies investing a lot of money. They're there to make money at the end of the day. So
right,
you're as a director and actor and stuff, you're kind of at you have to understand it first of all, because I mean these people are investing lots and lots of they got lots in line. So you do got to kind of bend your stories and bend whatever you need to do to make those investors happy, because we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, right? So
right,
when you
right,
get to the independent, like you're talking about, well, it's just people volunteering their time mostly, and they're doing it because of how much they love it, and they just want to make something awesome.
right.
That's all they think about is just, I just want this story to be great, right? And everybody does. Everybody helps each other and just figures out how we're going to make this story great, right? So
Right. And
that's what makes independent so fun, right? So good.
and that's the trade off. The trade off is the money. Either you work for a big production company where you get paid a paycheck, or you work in an independent film, which most of the time, like you're saying, is volunteer, or you don't get paid very much. At some point, I feel like there's going to be a happy medium where the two are actually going to come together.
Yes, and you do need to find, as any performer needs to kind of find that.
Right.
You need to find that medium where it's like, I got to find a way to support myself,
Right.
do all the things I love. And it's no different than anybody else going to work every day. It's like I
Right.
go to work not because I love my job. I go to work so I can, go on vacation and go see this and go to the movies and go do that kind of stuff. So it's the same kind of thing. So this is kind of like, um, I don't want to say it's your hobby because it's your passion. It's what you want to be doing
Right.
full
Right.
time, right? So everybody wants to reach that level where it's like, this is what I do all the time, right? I don't have to go do this. I don't have to do that. So you got to find that balance where it's okay, especially early on in your career. And it's tough for young actors, right? It's like, oh, I got to go do all this stuff I hate and all this kind of stuff I do because I just want to do this. Well, you just got to find the balance, right? And then as your career progresses too, you're still going to be in that same position where you got to say, I got to do a certain amount of these kind of films that make me money.
Right.
And then it gives me the opportunity to do a few things of the things I love, which don't pay me. But I love
Right.
these films. I like this. So I got to do some of this to do some of that, right? It's just
Right.
that balance, right?
And I think that with the technology itself, the way that it's evolving, and with the live streaming, the different streaming services, the Netflix and the Tubies and the Freebies, all the new streaming services, I see that eventually these are going to come together. And
It will.
if people are putting more money behind independent films, where actors that do independent films will eventually be able to actually make a paycheck from it, because eventually, I think that with all the streaming services, that we'll probably end up moving away from the film industry as like going to theaters, because now you can just wait and the same movie comes into streams into your house now. So I think as the generations grow, either they're going to have to find something different for entertainment, but I think the streaming services are going to be the route for actors. You know what I mean?
Well, no doubt about it. I mean, it's already kind of it's taken over. Like, we never thought we'd be seeing like big A-list actors in
Right.
a Netflix TV series or something like that. Like, they're just all starting to the whole industry's kind of changed into that. There is work to be done, like, on how people are, and I think that's what they're going through right now with the strikes and that kind of thing. They're trying to say, okay, we got to find a way, because everybody can't work for nothing. Try to find a way that everybody's, can make a living, put out the content, because there's so much demand for content, and the technology is helping. I think it's great. First of all, just to kind of jump back a little bit to the self-tape thing. There's so many. I hear lots of people saying, let's kill the self-tape. Let's get back to live auditions. That kind of. I think self-taping is awesome. I think it's one of the greatest things that come out in a long time. And as an actor, I think it's phenomenal, because it's like, well, now I get a chance where I can really give you my best, because we all have, days you go and, it's a live audition. You're only getting kind of one shot. Maybe the director might ask you to do it again, this and that, to kind of go. While you're walking into a foreign room, you do your best, but I never think your best work is done in a live audition. So this gives you an opportunity to kind of say, oh yeah, you do it, and I can do it a little better. And you give a chance to try a few different things, and you can send the best of you out there. And it helps the director too, because they get to see the best of you. Because I'm sure there's been lots in the past where directors have just kind of missed some really great actors because the audition was just kind of, they were tired that day, they weren't feeling well, or just just had one of those lapses, and the director missed a good opportunity, and the producers on a good performance as well. So I think it helps everybody, like, in my opinion. And it's a little more effort, but I don't find it any more effort than having to get in my car, drive across the city, go to a live audition. Now I can just, when it works with my schedule, I get it done. Just get it done for the deadline. But I'm also now able to audition for people in Texas, people in California, people in Europe. Like, I mean, that's what I've been doing. It's like, I never had those opportunities before. I wish I had those 20 years ago, because I would never had to have changed paths, right? So I think it's fantastic. I hope it never goes away, the self-tape, for myself. That's my personal opinion, because I think it gives everybody good opportunities.
Right. And that's another good point that you brought up too, is there's so many talented actors and actresses that's come through this since the pandemic. I mean, I've met tons of them. I'm like, people are just amazing, if given the opportunity. And this, like I said, the technology kind of evens the playing field a little bit.
That's right.
For some of the people who couldn't afford to go get on a plane and go fly out to an audition, you know what I mean? Now they can do this self-tape. And, one of my favorite actors over in Florida, his name is Jonathan Montes. He's been in several different films now, but his first role, well, it wasn't his first role, but one of the auditions he did was for a movie called Seven Roses. Bobby Washington was the director, and Bobby's like, hey, I need you to audition. And Jonathan was in another state, and he's like, well, I'm at the airport. I can't just fly out there. So he did a tape audition at the airport, got the role, killed the role. I mean, he nailed it. And he's done like several films since then. Extremely talented. And without that technology, he wouldn't be able to do that.
That's right.
And we would have missed out on just an awesome, amazing actor. So yeah, I'm with you. I hope that doesn't go away because.
And I think it also really focuses on the work that you're doing. So as your performance, what you're doing, I think it really focuses on that after, because like auditioning is another skill as an actor, right? So when you go for a live audition, that energy you bring into the room, that's all skills that you have to develop too. How you come in, how you greet the people that are there, how you so all that starts to play into your you getting the role as well. I mean, you still have to give a great audition, but I mean that helps. And sometimes there's people that have a really good skill of how to handle the audition room. They know how to charm the right way, they say the right things, and it can sway the people that are looking at it thinking like, oh, I really like this guy. But is it now it's becoming about I like this guy, not about his performance anymore. So it's there is a bit of that too, because you got to work with this person to the next little bit. So you do want to know that this guy's likable or this girl's likable, this lady, whoever is doing the audition. You can work with this person. So I get that aspect of it. But sometimes if it's going to sway, like, you know what I mean? You could be a killer at giving an audition, but your performances are not as good, or vice versa. You know what I mean? You can, go in and be one of those guys that are just, you get in there and you panic and it's like, oh, and you just like, you don't know how to deal with the room, but then you give a good audition. So it's, but when you do it live, it kind of everything plays into that. Right. So this, I find it's kind of focuses on the work. Are you good? Are you,
So let me ask you this. Since going back into acting, what do you think has been the biggest obstacle for you to overcome?
For me, it's because for the particular stuff I want to do, because I want to really focus on like film. If I don't have a lot of time for theater. I have a family, I have 3 kids. My wife, we're very busy. My kids are, in their late teens. 2 are starting at university, so I don't have the time to commit to theater. At some point, I'll probably get in and do some shows because I still love doing that as well. But I always really love film, and I just really like it. So my biggest obstacle is here where I live. There's not enough where I can go at it. There's not enough stuff that I'll be working full time. Right? So that's my obstacle. And like I said, I am in the Actors Union, which is great to be part of the union. And I hope more and more productions get, involved in stuff. But the reality is where I am, if you look at the comparison of work to there's a lot more non-union opportunities for me to go do, which I'm having to not be able to do. But at the same time, I don't want to give up my actor. I worked hard for that to get to that stage, and I support the union and everything they do. So I'm hoping, there'll be more kind of ways to figure out how to bridge all these things so actors can, make a living at it, right? And they can really focus on it too, because that's what you want to do. You want to be able to devote as much time to it. Most of your time spent having to go to work somewhere else, you're not really getting that, right? So I hope there's a shift in that. But yeah, my obstacles have been definitely here where I live. But like I said, the self-taping has opened up some doors where I can go further. But I have noticed lately too, there is a lot of roadblocks being put in. Like I said, the U.S., it'd be nice to have a more open border amongst artists, because it is kind of art. And it's kind of like telling, to me, it's like telling a painter, that's a beautiful painting, but you can only show it to people in your city. Where else, right? So it's like kind of like we're trying to make artwork to entertain people. So anyway, it'd be nice if they did a little more open border kind of thing, but it's not that it's hard to get the visa. It's hard to get the production to say, I'll spend that extra little bit of time, because there's so many actors out there. I'm very confident with the work that I do, and I think I do a great job, but I'm not denial of the fact that there's probably 50 other guys that audition for the same part as me, and they're just good and they live in the city. So it's more convenient. So,
Yeah.
because I've seen it. I've had some callbacks and stuff, and we're having a great audition. Everything's really good. We're doing the audition live over the, online, and things are great. And questions. So are you based here in Los Angeles? It's like, no, I'm actually in Calgary, but in there. Oh, yeah, okay. And you can just see the whole thing kind of change.
Yeah.
So I am working towards that. So that's my biggest hurdle, get this visa. I am noticing even within my own country a little bit of, which I'm going to actually start I'm trying to reach out to address some of this, a lot of interprovincial roadblocks. And that has to do with, and I do understand the whole thing behind it, because productions come to those particular provinces, they get particular tax credits. So they're kind of limiting now. They're saying, well, you have to be a resident of this province, or we're not going to see you. So you're not even getting into audition or even send in tapes because you don't meet this criteria. And you don't have to divulge all that, but I don't think it's fair to the productions either to not say, I'm not in your province, not in this. So to find that out after, you take up their time, you make them look at your things and that kind of thing. And then they got to find out, oh, you're not here. Okay, well, then we have to move on to the next guy, right?
Wow. So,
yeah, these kind of all kind of tear down, because I was really shocked, like even recently, because now, like I said, I re-signed in Vancouver, and I'm being told, well, you're not a resident here anymore. And I'm like, well, I was born there in British Columbia. Spent half of my life there. My acting career was mostly there. I moved here the last couple of decades to raise my family in this province next door. And then now you're telling me I can't come back and audition for your productions.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's hurdles that are just little things, but I mean, got to try to work.
Those hurdles matter. I mean,
they do, because you're seeing a lot of things that's like, oh, I really want to go out for that.
Right.
Well, they're not seeing non-residents. It's like,
okay.
So, you have to, try and hope, but, sometimes you just don't get the opportunities.
You hear the incentives that people have for these films, the incentives that the states have, but you don't realize the restrictions that comes along.
Well, that's what it is, and that's where, and I do understand. Like I said, I'm a businessman too, so I get where they're coming from. It's like, well, sure, we'll come shoot there. You do have lots of actors or performers there, directors, crews. You're going to get this great tax break. Here are the rules that come along with it. You get to film here. You hire this many people here. You do this here. You do this here. And you have to abide by the rules, right? Or else you're not going to get the tax credit. I get that. So I think it's more of a federal government thing that needs to kind of step in and govern, the whole thing, to say, you know what, as long as, the person who's going to pay their taxes to that province, the province isn't losing out. And I know the politicians and stuff, they want to be telling people we're taking care of you, so you vote us back in, that kind of thing. So there is a lot that plays into all that, right? And I mean, that's why these rules get made. I mean, because you get, elections coming, and these politicians are saying, well, we're going to take care of you, and to do that, we're going to do this, and this, and we're going to charge these people that, and the other provinces are this, and all these little things, right? So there's that plays into it. It's tax money comes into productions. They are there. They want to make money. I mean, at the end of the day, they're businesses, and that's what people got to remember too. Production companies are businesses, right? So it's it's not good for businesses to exploit anybody. And so that's why I think, right now, all these different, strikes are going on. They're just trying to let's find a compromise where, everybody's making a decent enough living. You guys are making money. People are getting their content. Everybody's happy, right? Kind of thing, right? So it's a bit of a, you gotta just work through it.
Right. And I think eventually they'll be able to figure it out.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, the industry is growing. It's growing. We have a lot of great, independent artists that are out there, as far as the actors, the directors, the writers. I mean, you have some incredible writers out there too, putting out this content. So, like I said, with the big production comes with the money, and all this creativity coming from the independent. There's, at some point they're going to mesh somewhere. You know what I mean? And I'd love to see that happen. So let me ask you this: so for a young person starting out, or somebody who's wanting to get into this industry, what is the biggest advice that you would give to them?
Definitely study all the time, practice all the time, get good at what you do. First of all, it's like anything; you've got to be good at what you do.
Right.
Um, you can't just walk in and just think that you're just the next greatest thing. You know, you may have all the best looks in the world or the most unique looks and stuff. It'll get you maybe the odd parts here and there, but if you really want to be successful, then you got to get good, right?
Right.
So definitely practice. Go out there. There is now, fortunately, a lot of like these services online where you can go in and you can start auditioning, but
Right.
do it. Go on there and do a lot of. You're gonna have to do a lot of unpaid stuff. You're gonna have to do a lot of things. You're gonna have to build your experience. It's like anything else. Get experience. Get on sets. Learn how things are done. Because film can get quite technical too, right? So you got to
Right.
learn how to. I've always thought that there's definitely two types of acting. There's theater acting, and then
Right.
there's film acting. And you have to learn. First of all, decide if you want to do one, the other, or both.
Right.
And you have to learn the craft of both. And then but if you're going to go into film and you really want to progress and get into the big stuff, you do need an agent. Here in Canada, you need an agent. I think in the States, managers are quite popular too. So so some people have agents, managers, publicists, but that's all stuff. You don't need to go that depth at the start. You just need an agent who's going to get you in front of some casting directors. Watch you're going with a reputable person. Reputable agents never ask you for money up front. They never say you have to pay for this, pay for that. When you book a job, you have to give a commission to your agent. That's how it works. If they ask you for anything else, unless they're saying go see a photographer over there, the photographer's obviously going to charge you for your headshots and that kind of thing. But your agent shouldn't be just upfront charging you for anything, right? Because they haven't done their job yet. Their job is to get you in. Your job is to book the job. You got to work as a team. You got to listen to each other, work with each other, listen to your agents. Hopefully, agents are listening to their actors. You build a good relationship. Know where your strengths are, and that's another thing too. Know where your strengths are. You know what I mean? If you're really good at a particular kind of role, you don't want to typecast yourself in it. But at the start, you're trying to get some experience. Go where you know you're going to be successful. Once you start building that experience, you want to diversify. You don't want to get stuck in that, but you've got to build your experience. So you keep building. One thing leads to another, and you got to have thick skin. You got to not give up. You can have people saying, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing this? Or you just gotta, if you like to do it, any avenue you can find to do it, do it.
Yeah.
And don't give up on it. And people are going to tell you, some people are going to say that was horrible. Some people are going to say, you're unattractive. Some people are going to say you're too old, or you're too young, or you're too thin, or you're too heavy, or you're too white, or you're too black, or you're too this. It's going to be too, you're going to hear all those things. There's going to be all the reasons not to, but take advice when it's good criticism advice, listen to it, learn from it, and just keep driving forward.
Cool. And another thing too that that while you're out there, you're trying to audition, and you talk about learning the craft. If there's other opportunities on a set, like doing grip or working some lighting or sound or something else to be on the set to help, I think that also makes you more valuable too. And the people doing the film, not only appreciate that, but when they do another project, they might consider you because they know that you're helpful on the set. And as an actor, you're learning what all it takes to do a film.
Exactly. Like that, and that's the thing that most, even audience and stuff, they don't really see that. They just have that image in their head. It's the camera guy, director sitting beside him, giving some direction, and a couple people holding some mics. But there's we're talking thousands and thousands of jobs that are created on a film set. There's so many departments, so many. Each individual production is like a little organized. It's like an organization. You got this giant tier of people, and without that tier of people, the film can't get made.
Right.
So if you're there and you start to see some of it, you see as an actor, you get on set, you see kind of the stuff that's going on during production.
Right.
If you have opportunities to see what's happening in post-production or pre-production, or take them. Why not? Why not? Like I said, and I'm a big learner in life. I just whenever there's something to learn, I just like, sure, let's do it, and I kind of do it, and I want to learn it 100%. I don't want to kind of learn 5%. I go and try to dive right in. I think it's important, and it's good also too as growth thing as an actor too, to learn skills. Learn how to play tennis if you get an opportunity. Like, nobody's saying you're going to be a pro tennis player, but learn how to play. You might have bow for the role. You have to play tennis. Well, last thing you want to do is go in and look like an idiot. I got a part in a movie, and don't do this. I don't recommend doing this. But it was a part of a hockey player, and I had to play a professional hockey player, and I was a piano player and stuff. I wasn't a hockey player. I took a little bit of skating lessons when I was a kid, and that was about it. But we did the audition. They liked the audition. They asked me to play hockey, and I'm like, oh yeah, I play hockey. Yeah, no problem.
Right.
So I got the part. So 3 weeks I went to the rink and like hours every day for 3 weeks so I could learn. And luckily, I picked things up pretty quick. So I was skating around pretty great, forwards, backwards, stick handling. I was good enough to do it. So it turned out I didn't have to really play any hockey in the film, because every time there was a big hockey scene, they brought in real hockey players anyway. So they would cut, we do our scene, and then they cut the professional hockey players. So it's like, okay, so did all that work for nothing, but it was good. Learned how to play hockey. But if you have those opportunities in life, just do it. I tell my kids all the time, I know you're not a big fan of this, but just go do it, learn it. You might want to be hanging out with your friends one day. They want to go do it. At least you know how to do it.
Right.
So.
Cool. So let me ask you this. Is there a particular role that you would love to do?
I don't think I have a particular role. It's literally particular on role. It's just if you're reading and it's like, oh, I like the way this guy talks. I like the way he's written. I like the humor of it. I do I have fun. I do enjoy playing bad guys. Like, they're just fun. It's fun when you can do things that you don't do in real life, right? So, in real life, I'm a dad. In real life, I take care of my family. In real life, I go to work. So those are things you do every day, right? But it's not every day you get to go in and you're holding somebody up, or you're shooting up a bank, or you're doing so. There's a level of fun with that. I enjoyed playing some military guys. I did a film where I was a Navy SEAL. Got to do all kinds of fun stuff. We're flying in Army helicopters, shooting machine guns, blowing flamethrowers, or burning things down. It was like, God, this is awesome. I get to do all this crazy stuff, right? So I like and I like change. So if something's offbeat from daily life, or something I haven't done before, I like to just go for it. Yeah. But bad guys are definitely fun. They're definitely enjoyable and fun to play. But most of it boils down to, if I read something I really like, it's just like, oh, I'd love to play this guy, right? I did one for a priest. I've never auditioned for a priest before, but I loved the way it was written. It was kind of a little bit comedy, a little bit, and I've never been that kind of guy. So it was like, and I did it, and I think I did a really great audition at it. I was really happy with the audition I did with it. And unfortunately, it was in the U.S., so again, I hit the visa roadblocks. I wasn't able to get down there and do it. But yeah, I'll do anything, if it's just sometimes stretch yourself.
Right. I saw a Western that you were in, that you did.
The which one? Sorry?
The Western?
Oh, which one?
It was in your demo reel.
Oh, okay. That was a short film. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, we did a short film here, and I was actually here in Calgary. And I don't think it was kind of a short trailer. I'm not sure where he took the film after. It was a great concept, I thought, though, and he did some great filming. I love the cinematography in it, and fun. Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely do more wrestling. It's just fun, horseback riding. I love riding the horses and
Right.
the outfits and that kind of thing. And it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into all the like the time period.
Yeah.
Like the whole Roman. Even some of the westerns. So yeah, seeing the time period movies there is I love watching those. And I see a lot of people are starting to do bring back westerns too.
I think there is a little bit of a push on westerns again. Yeah, it seems you're right. I've been seeing more of that kind of thing. Seeing right now, there's a big. It seems like the horror flicks. There's lots of
Yes,
interest in that. People just like being scared. I guess I don't know, but there's a big
right.
kick on that. But I would love to do like an old Roman period piece or that kind of thing. I don't think I've ever even had the opportunity to audition for it. I don't think I've ever come across. Uh, the opportunity to even audition. I think maybe because living here in Canada, I don't see them doing.
Right.
Those maybe happening more in Europe or that kind of thing. And but I'd love to do one of those. Yeah,
Right. They're
totally.
having a show now where there's two big shows they're filming here in Texas. One is called um, uh, uh, The Vindication is one of them. It's sort of a detective show,
Okay.
and then the other one is I can't think of the name of it. But it's um, basically following the disciples of Christ. So they have the whole Roman soldiers. They have that whole time period. So they have a city here in Miscellany, Texas, that is set up to look like
To look like old Roman. Yeah, that's
yeah.
yeah.
So that man, I don't the name of it's a huge series, and the name just slipped my mind. But
No
uh,
worries. Look it up and find out what it is. Yeah.
yeah, that was gonna bother me. But
Sometimes it's that's the magic of movie making. You're watching these shows and it's like you're supposed to be in like deep South Africa, and then you find out they filmed it somewhere Eastern Canada and some weird place. Like they just they do this awesome stuff. I mean, one film I did, it was they had to make a tropical swamp,
right,
and they did it out in some farmer's field. There's this farmer's field, and then you look out way in the distance at this farmer's field, and all of a sudden you see palm trees and a big swamp and all this. And it's like there's no palm trees in Canada.
right,
They brought all this in. They dug out this giant thing. They made this huge tropical swamp. They brought in all these plants and all these, walkways going through there. All these, and it was just in the center of this big empty field,
right.
and you all of a sudden see this tropical forest, and it's like, God,
Wow,
the stuff they do is amazing. It's amazing.
it's incredible. The
Yeah.
name of the show is called The Chosen. I just remember it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I've seen that. Okay, so that's in Texas.
Yeah, it's here in Texas. So and it's pretty big. And I have a lot of friends that saw that show, so they're gonna kill me that I forgot the name of it.
Oh no, they getting a bunch of dings right now saying like, "Are you
Yeah,
serious?"
they're like, hey, listen. So, but yeah, the incredible show too.
Right
And
on.
the set out there here is like really incredible. I'm trying to make it to where I could go do a live show out there, and just like hang out in the set and talk to some of the people there. But yeah, but I could definitely if you were able to come down here, hey, definitely see you as one of the Roman guards in that.
Well, I got definitely the Roman nose. It's
Right,
100% Italian blood running through my veins, right? So
right.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, and that's an amazing show too. They're on. They just wrapped up season 3. They're starting season 4. Um, but yeah, we're pretty fortunate here in Texas to have such a big community, and I want to see that because I noticed that Arkansas has a big community. Florida has a big community. Of course, you got California has a community.
I know Atlanta's starting to boom like crazy with the film. That's great.
Yeah, I have friends out there over in Florida, and they're just pumping out movies like left and right
That's great.
over in Florida. I mean, one of my friends, Sean Proslacker, we did a show together. He left the show to go actually start a film company
Yeah,
out there, and so he's been working on one or two films himself.
good for him.
So yeah, so that's incredible to see, and like that community is just I love that community.
That's where my eyes starting to go a little bit too. It's like I think it's time to start making films and stuff too, right? So I'm kind of gearing in that direction too. I did do a little bit of investment in some film already.
Mm-hmm.
And, my brain's been turning the last little bit. It's like we need more stuff here. Maybe we need some more productions and stuff. So anyway, that's kind of my next little path there. But I'll never stop with the acting because I enjoy it so much. And I'd love to do things like, shows. And I love playing Italian characters, even though like I'm very big on my heritage, right? So I'm very involved with the Italian community here in my city. My kids are all involved in my girls' Italian dance. My wife's on all the Italian boards of all the different associations. So I love my culture. I'm very big on that. I even, 5 years ago decided I need to, learn the language really well. So I basically made the decision I'm going to learn it, and learned it, and speak Italian fluently now too. So proper Italian, right? So so all those little things. I just I love our culture and stuff. So
that was going to be my next question: is if you thought about becoming a filmmaker, doing directing and producing, and do you do any screenwriting?
Not a lot of screenwriting yet. I'm always mine is the sitting down with the time to do it. My brain's always going a million things going through my head all the time. It's like, you gotta sit down and write that down. It's like, okay, well, as soon as I find 5 minutes to go sit down and write
exactly.
So hopefully I'm going to find a little more time to do that. But my brain has been going also now to the film production. So I'm working through some plans right now to kind of figure out how we're going to fund and do that kind of thing. And so I'd like to do something here. And it'll happen. Next little bit, I'm gonna, be putting that together. It's just like I said, a little bit of everything all at once. I love the title of that movie, Everything All at Once, because that's how I feel all the time. I do everything all at once, right? You got so many things to deal with in a day. You just go hard at it and just keep plugging away day in, day out.
Cool. So now I went to your IMDb. And I saw you did like 17 films. You've done about 17.
Yeah, but 17. Actually, I think there's been a few more. I think you might not see them all on the IMDb. Some of them you still have to go on IMDb Pro because they're under some of them. The production stuff you might not see there. I think it's about 21.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
Now, has that been since you've been back, or is that like from the?
No. Probably about 50-50, I guess. Some of them were during my time in Vancouver, the few years of Vancouver. Those are some of them was back then, and then a couple of them over the big hiatus I took. I did do a couple sporadic productions just when time allowed me to, but then the stuff that's coming more recently has just been in the last less than a year.
Oh wow!
Last fall, I kind of just said, I want to do this again, so I'm just gonna start hitting hard. And so every day I try to devote some time to it so I can do some of that, and then I go off to work and then try to think of more things we're gonna do and how we're gonna get there. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Do you have anything that you're currently working on?
So I just finished. The last thing I just finished up was actually over in the Netherlands. We went over and filmed a movie called Out for Vengeance. They're just in their post-production right now. I just got worried. I think they just filmed literally the last couple scenes they wanted to film. It's written and directed by a gentleman named Salar. He's out in the Netherlands there in Amsterdam, and he's been working hard at this movie for 3 years. He's got a big international cast, people from everywhere, like literally everywhere, from the US, from Australia, from Britain, down in Turkey. Like, wow. I'm the Canadian, I guess. I went over and did it. Yeah. So he's now in editing of that. He's hoping to release that this fall. He's already working on the part 2 to the film. That was one more recent. That was one that was really enjoyable because I got to go over to the Netherlands and film over there. And it's funny how it's so easy to go over to a place like that, and I can't go south of my border and work south. It's so easy to go over there and film a movie, but it was, so.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so hey, I'll go pretty much anywhere to, if the opportunity's right, if it's a great role, it's a good opportunity, why not? Like,
Right.
so
So, hey,
yeah.
what's it like? What's it like going to another country to be able to film?
Well, you know what? There really wasn't time to even really like where we'll be in another country. It was literally flew in, somebody
Mhm.
picked me up, brought me to the hotel, kind of got changed, got ready, met the kind of
Right.
people, got literally to work right next morning. We were work, 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 work.
Well,
Last day we did a photo shoot, kind of done that halfway through the day. So I had about a half a day to go
oh,
and
just
see Amsterdam. Otherwise, I didn't even like. I could
wow.
have been anywhere. I didn't really feel where I was because I was just
Right.
there to work and whatever. So the last half a day, I had to put a half a day to spend looking around, and so that was fun and stuff like that. And I did one out in Ontario, same kind of thing. I didn't really get to. It was just get off the plane, get the location, straight to work for a few days, and then back on the
Mm.
plane home. Right. So it's just just like going to work anywhere else. It's just maybe I don't know. Maybe some people I don't know have had better experience where they got to explore a lot during the city. Maybe you have days off. If you're there for a lengthy time and you have some time off, maybe it's a little
Right.
different. You get to go out and explore, hang
Yeah.
with people. My experience so far has just been get there, get to work, go home.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So you got
I
to go back. You got to go back and enjoy the country.
no, really, I didn't get to. But I'm hoping he's talking about holding a premiere in the fall. So this will be an
Right.
opportunity to go take my wife. We can go together. We can spend a
Right.
few days. Go and see some things and make a little more of an adventure out of it. So, yeah, the work part is done. So hopefully after we can have a little more experience with it. So,
Right.
yeah,
To me, that would just be fun. It'd just be fun to go to another country, do something that you really like to do. Yeah. But you have to be able to spend time there and get to know you know, the culture in that area. That's the whole point of going. Yeah.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. So, I mean, I probably could have stayed a couple extra days, but
Yeah.
just having obligations at home and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I was literally, what they've done, and then just book it home the next morning, come home kind of thing, right? So I probably could have had that option. I just, you know, I mean, if I
Right.
was a single guy, then it wouldn't be a big deal. I would have more time, but and just even like I say in my career too, if I was a single guy, well, I could pack up and just move
Right. Right.
south and start. But because I have obligations here, I have family or businesses here, and that kind of stuff, still have things to take care of. So
Right.
you know, uh, that is another piece of advice for young actors. I mean, if you do it, especially when you're single, you have no other things. Get out there, get where you want to be, do it.
Right.
Uh, and it just life brings you different changes and stuff like that. Like I don't regret like stopping, like for
Right.
the time I stopped because I got married the woman I loved. We have three
Right.
beautiful children. My wife's Italian like me. Our kids are 100% Italian. We
Right.
embraced our culture. We have lots of family here. We had a beautiful, wonderful life for the last 20 years and stuff. It just like I said, once I hit back into it, that fire just kind of
Right.
built up again. It's like I really, really miss this and love this and want to do it again, right?
Right.
So, and it's good. I find being older too, I have a totally different thought process about it. Like
Right.
it's I just want to do good stuff. I want to just do whatever I can, and it's I don't know. I just approach everything a little bit differently, different attitude, and very positive about it. But like I said, I love auditioning and stuff. I don't love
Right.
everything about it. There's not really anything I can say that aside from not being allowed to go here and do something or not being allowed. That's the only thing for me is that no, you sorry, you can't come here and do this or you can't come here and do that. For me, that's the only thing. I don't like the I can't kind of thing. But we'll keep trying though. Keep plugging it.
Cool. So let me ask you, if somebody wants to follow you in your career, what's the best way for them to follow you?
I'm on Instagram. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Those are kind of the only two platforms I really play around with. Um, just kind of started doing that more recently. I mean, I have had Facebook since the early 2000s, but I was never a big thing. But I started getting into it a little bit more, and it's been great because met guys like you and stuff on there, and
Right.
I was starting to meet people in that are in your industry, things you like.
Right.
So those are kind of the two I kind of post mostly too. That's where you'll find my stuff. I'm doing something new, or sometimes a come across some old, like the other day I came across the very first film I did, the one I told you about, where I went out and my first audition and booked it. I didn't even, never saw the film, never
Oh wow.
seen it anywhere, heard where it was, and I don't know, it was on YouTube and something. I think it was just the way something was worded made me think about something. So I typed it in and it was on. I was like, oh, geez, I never saw it. So I started watching, and it was fun. There's a really short scene with Eric McCormick from Will and Grace, and this great Vancouver actor, and it was just really brief and short, a couple of lines, but it was just fun just to see it. Had full head of hair. I was, I was like, look at my hair. I had so much hair, right? So yeah, so I posted that up there because it was just fun just to find, right? So it was just, oh look, this was the first film role I ever did. It was directed by a great Canadian director, David Winning. He does lots of directing, but he's actually from Calgary, Alberta, which was
okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, he films all over now, but this is his hometown, so yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, cool. So what we'll do is I'll put some links in the description field, so people could follow. And then they got to keep an eye out for new film.
Out for Vengeance will be out this year. And then I'm hoping we'll get working right away on Out for Vengeance 2.
Right.
And just been doing a bunch of auditions recently, so hopefully some of those will come to fruition, and hopefully I'll be making my way across the border soon. That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
So you guys got to do better and make it more accessible for actors to get across the border and do films.
That's right.
So whatever you guys got to do to make that happen, make that happen.
Awesome, for sure.
Right. So, all right, man. Well, I appreciate you being on the show, brother.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Taking time out in the day to come in, and I really enjoyed getting to know you, man. So,
yeah, thanks, Mark. Well, keep in touch.
Cool. So we'll definitely keep an eye out for your new films, and we'll put the details in, and so the people can follow you, because I know that you're going to do a lot of great things while you're out there. And I know eventually, the technology is going to catch up where, you guys can actually start getting paid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think the strike, as much as nobody likes strikes and stuff, I think it'll hopefully just bring everybody a little closer together.
Right.
We're not having everybody, everything in life. It seems like these days everybody's this side and that side. Let's all just let's just all start coming together and just, talking and finding common grounds and things that we can all relate to. And everybody, it seemed like we were getting there, and then we kind of went this way again. Everybody's doing their own thing again. So let's change that, people.
Right. And I think that with the strike, I think that's going to happen too.
It will. It'll come up. It'll be for the best. I think they'll come up with something that works for everybody.
Right.
And hopefully then get right back at it. Things will be bigger and better than ever. So
cool.
Right
on. All right, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, Parks.
Thank you so much for being on. You guys for joining us. Remember, guys, hit the subscribe, like, comment, share. Check out the Crossman Production merch store. And then tune in tonight. We have my boy Big Ant and DJ Travis Sells. That's going to be an awesome interview as well. Until then, guys, remember, you guys are uniquely designed with a purpose, and always keep moving forward.
Thanks, everybody.